Okay, yes, now it's doing.
Yes, here you go.
I
I
think I
got it.
waited too long to
Mhm.
I like had it all up ready to go, and I think I waited too long.
It now says meeting is now
Security.
live streaming on
Security.
YouTube.
Okay, so okay, yes, now it's doing.
Yes, here.
Okay, and I will mute that. All right, woo. Okay, let me admit. Who is this person? I don't know who I'm admitting. That's fine. Yes, I know. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Welcome everyone. This is called Cripping Art, and we're gonna talk about how the influence of disability is never, and I shouldn't say never because have seen it a little more now, but it's rarely talked about as an influence on art. And so I guess I'll just start with something like I was thinking about. Like I remember when I went to art school, and this was the 90s, because as Jessica, so it's like I'm old, but I think I might be older than you, Jessica. Anyway, so oh, by the way, I'm pre-RA. Let me give an image description. I'm brown skinned woman with dark brown hair. I'm wearing glasses, and I have like a bright pink shirt with a weird graphic on it. And so there you go. And so I remember I was there was a professor that I really loved. I really got along with him. And one of the things he said to our entire class, and it was kind of something that stuck with me, was that people that make art for therapy aren't real artists. And I was young, I wasn't really disabled. I mean, I do think my mind is a little out there, but I haven't been diagnosed with a disability mentally. Um, so then after I became disabled, from a spinal cord injury, and then I continued making art and continued being in my band, and then saw how disabled people were not really accepted in the world, let alone the art world. And then I started thinking about that a lot, like how that was just like a very ableist thing to say to a group of students. And it was the 90s. So people were just like, just not a little ignorant about things like that. So I don't know if anybody wants to respond to that or talk about that.
I I would like to, for starters, if that's okay with all of you, and I just want to give a quick introduction to myself. Hi, my name's Talia Flores. I am a 28-year-old with spastic diplegia, the most common form of cerebral palsy. I'm an Afro-Latina wearing a yellow dress, and my background is my Stomping on CP logo, which includes a black foot and the words in dark green stomping on CP with the stomping on CP ribbon. And what I have to say about Priya's perspective on disability and art, when it comes to writing, it saved my life when I was 15 years old, and I was struggling with the loss of my best friend and trying to find my way. And later on, I realized it also helped me cope with my disability and accept my disability. And if it wasn't for me publishing books and writing, I think I would have been another statistic that would have been dead. So, like, my writing is my outlet, it is my coping mechanism, and it is my therapy to survive in a world that wasn't really made for me. And when I'm behind the keyboard, I feel like I'm not disabled, like I'm invincible. So, with that, I'm thankful for writing because it did save my life, and I'm helping other people as well.
And
I
despite that, you're a writer, you're a published writer. So it's not that you can't be a writer because you
Mhm.
use it as a coping mechanism doesn't mean you, that your writing isn't significant, or not to be read read by other people. um so anyone else? Chanika, go ahead.
I'm Chunika, and I'm a Thai American with light brown skin and asymmetrically cut, dark brownish black hair. And I want to offer a different perspective. I think, as a visual artist, because my invisible disability is mental health difference, people assume that my art is therapy. Like they just equate it and then therefore dismissing the professional training I have because I did choose to pursue an MFA and I am a practicing professional artist. And I feel like sometimes when people just project that, they're ignoring all my professional training and taking me seriously as an artist. They don't, they think that they sort of let that define me, and I don't want it to define me. I also think that my disability of bipolar is more than an influence. It's actually a modality. Like I use modality of care. And the way I practice my art is informed by my experience. It's more than an influence. It's actually how I practice my art. Like, for instance, I don't have the steadiest of hand because of the medication I take, but the smears I make with charcoal and the irregularities is a part of my aesthetic. And sometimes because I use aspects of my disability as my aesthetic, sometimes it's not perceived as being aesthetically pleasing or clean or it just has a different aesthetic. So it's not appreciated, that it can be in that way, accepting it, the form that it takes.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Shanika. Go ahead, Ashley.
Hi, my name's Ashley. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name's Ashley. I'm a white female wearing a black tank top and sitting in an art studio with a bone retriever service dog that keeps alerting. So if you see him popping up, that's him. I had something to add on to that because my artwork is also dealing with my experience as a disabled artist and also dealing with mental health. And I kind of run up against the stigma also of like, is it like therapy work, and does it detract from the validity of the work that's being made because it's dealing with mental health? And I think that's a barrier to overcome when you're dealing with emotional art, specifically dealing with mental health, because there's this perception that that's somehow less, and it shouldn't be at all. But I think the work that's being made and that we're seeing more of now of people addressing their disabilities, physical, mental, learning is incredibly important work that's being done. And I think we're seeing that it's gaining more importance and more recognition now than it's ever has been, which is really encouraging to see.
Yeah, that I agree. I see more and more disabled artists, making art about their disabilities. Anyone else have anything?
Can I add to what Ashley
Jessica
said?
go first, Tylia, since she talked already. Jessica, go ahead.
Okay.
Or OG, did you raise your hand? I can't.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I know I'm in the dark.
Okay, so it'll be OG, Jessica, and then Tylia.
Okay. Hi, my name is OG Danley. I am the founding member of Dances with Wills Dance Company here in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a visually Caucasian woman with white silver hair. And I have on a green shirt with black overalls, and behind me is a Native American leather and art textile pattern in teal and black. And as a dancer, when I first began dancing with Full Radius, and this was over 10 years ago, we often had conversations about dance as therapy and dance as our professional, as performers, and that they were two very different things. And in that company, we had, of course, the time when we were rehearsing, we were producing, dance work to be performed and, is part of our income. But we also did things like have open classes on Friday and do outreach programs, because of course there are very physical therapy attributes to art that can contribute to the healing of all sorts of disabilities. The thing that I emphasize in my dance company is that the accommodations and the idea of working with a disabled body, we bring that into the process of actually creating our work. And we do that with our choreographers, we do that with our videographers. Everybody is brought into that conversation, and what it is to be working with a disabled person and what those person's needs are, especially when you have a dynamic disability like my own. It's always changing. What I can do today, I not could do yesterday. And just as a quick side note, in one of the pieces that we're going to be presenting at the Disability Art Pride show, we were just finishing up the final edit of the video, and there's one move in there that does not look that difficult, but everyone knows that for me, that was the hardest move of that entire piece. This is the one that landed me in bed for 3 days. But no one else will know that except the other people. So we rearranged how we filmed it, how we choreographed it. So I only had to do that move so many times and still get the quality of movement that we have for the rest of the piece. So there's my thoughts.
I'm Jessica Wallach.
Okay.
And I am a light-skinned white woman with green glasses and silvery shoulder length hair. I'm wearing a piece of my artwork that is a profile. It does it behind me, a profile, and inside the profile is a curb cut, and I call it Thinking About Accessibility because that's what I do. That's what I've done for 40 odd years now. And I've been thinking about this, artist and disability stuff for a long time. And I've been thinking about this history lately and how there's a way where art is completely closed off to us. But on the other hand, the artists that get held up as examples of people with disabilities and makes art as a whole less than other professions. And so I think people with disabilities have always been artists. In some ways, it's been our freedom, right? Think about circus performers. And our history is completely woven into art history. And it becomes the excuse for not paying us well. So that's one thing I've been thinking about lately. And I really want to do a much bigger piece on it if anybody wants to join me in that. And I'll tell you a reverse story. When I was 14, or maybe 15, I walked into a painter's studio with my stepfather, who was an artist, and the painter said, "Do you paint?" Because I was asking all these questions, and I said, no, my hands shake too much. And he was like, "That would be wonderful. You should be an artist." And he was like really, really encouraging and really respectful. And that's always stayed with me. Even though I've chosen to be a photographer, that kind of hides my shakiness. And I'm trying to embrace it and figure out what that would look like. But I always remembered him, and I didn't know him very well at all. But he became my best artist ally.
That's awesome. Thanks for that story, Jessica.
Yeah.
That is so important. That one person you need while you're growing up can mean so much. Okay, Tylea, go ahead and
I'm just gonna add to what Jessica just said and what OG just said and what I forgot who said something about the art being so like relatable, but I agree with what everyone else is saying. Like there's been times that people have been shocked that I'm a writer because look at my swan neck deformity. It's really bad, and I type with this one finger with the accessibility feature, and people are just so shocked. But the one person that has always encouraged me to write is my mother. And sometimes when I publish books, people are like, this is so bad. Why did you publish this? Like my book, I have a book that's called Passionate Love Affairs of a Disabled Woman, and it's the story of Kamika, and Kamika cheats on her husband. And it's an exotic, and people are like, why did you write this book? And I was like, because it happens in the disability community too. So with that, I just say to everyone, I could relate to everyone in that aspect as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Tylea. Lillian, I am going to have you speak, but let me just read some things that are in the chat first. Erica Reyes said, I love that story, the shakiness of the hands being wonderful for painting, and how Chanika said, what is this thing blocking? Chanika said, disability is the modality and the aesthetic. And Alex says, it's great to be in community with you. All I need to go now. I have dinner plans. Oh, okay. Well, she left already.
Right on. Bon appetit.
But I hope you have a good dinner, Alex. Okay, so Lillian, please go ahead and speak.
Hiya, I'm Lilium. I am a white woman who is lying down in bed with a dark background. Yeah, I am relatively new to identifying as disabled. I have long COVID and I've had it for a few years. And in September, I tried to go to university and spent a lot of this year bedbound. And yeah, but I feel like art has become a hopeful like lifeline for me, because when I know that I will probably not be able to work for a long time, if ever, but making art could be something that I'm able to sustain myself with. I was talking with a friend earlier today about how your imagination of having a world outside of your, if you're chronically ill, like, is so important. So like escapism, but more hopeful. And I just thought that's really
Okay, thanks so much, Lillian. That's really interesting, and thanks for sharing. Jess Martin, did you want to say something? I think you're raising your hand, but I'm not sure.
Yes, I'm Jess Martin. I'm from Chicago. I use a power chair and I have CP and dystonia. It's another movement disorder. But today I'm in my office and I'm wearing a disability pride parade shirt from yesterday. We are the first people in the US to have a parade for disability. So I'm very proud of that. I'm a dancer and choreographer. And before the pandemic, I was also a public speaker. But I really relate. I can't remember who said it, but I really relate to the person. I think it was Jessica, to having role models and to having people that believe in you, because I wouldn't be where I am today as a dancer or choreographer if people didn't believe in me, didn't try to accommodate me, didn't try to see how can we do this. Because in the beginning of my dance journey, I wasn't good, and nobody's good at the first, but I need a lot of different things that made me feel kind of not right to do it, but it's because of my passion, but also the people that believe in me along the way to keep me going. So that's very important for people that are younger to realize that having role models is very important. And even like I really look up to like did you say your name was Tamika? Or I really look up to people who are older than me. I'm 35, but I really look up to people that are older than me, and it helps me along my journey. And I hope I can do the same for others.
I think you're talking about Shanika, I think. Or I was like, is it Priya or Shanika?
It's not Priya and it's not Shamika. I think her name starts with a T. I'm sorry.
Tylea.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
I'm younger than you, actually. I'm 28, and that's really flattering to hear. I would love to connect with you if you're on Facebook.
Yes, I am.
You can add me at Tylea L Flores. I'll put my profile in the chat to you so you could connect with me, because I think you're really awesome. You're a dancer with CP. That's badass.
Yeah.
It is. And to what, oh God, I'm spacing out here. To what Jess said, yeah, role models are really good. And elders, elders are, even though Tylea is not really around, but Tylea is an old soul, so I will say that.
Yeah.
Elders like Marguerite is, I don't know, how old are you? Like 65, Marguerite? Marguerite's 65. Like when I talk to her,
67.
oh, 67. Oh, sorry,
Wow.
Margaret. But she's definitely an elder, and she's lived through the rights movement and stuff. So I always love talking to her, and she's a badass. Which I will read her comment because I know she wrote something, and I'm gonna read it. But besides what she's gonna write here about what she does as an artist, she goes to city council all the time and calls them out on their accessibility and not being accessible, and she's just an amazing person, and we're so lucky to have her. And I love Marguerite. Okay, so Marguerite, oh yeah, see, it says I'm 67, very proud. Marguerite Maddox, and Scarlett, who is her service, is that your new service dog? Yeah, Scarlett, your service dog. It's just a service dog. We are from Michigan. I'm a photographer, which is my freedom since I was 13 years old. I am an African Indian American and danceability in Detroit, Michigan. Scarlett is my service partner and advocate. So
And I just
Go
wanted to clarify something. I was saying that it doesn't matter how old you are, like the role models. I was just explaining that what I like about it. I'm not saying that I know that you're younger than me, but I agree, however old you are, you can always look up to somebody. And like I feel like there are people obviously that are younger than me, but there are also people that are older than me. So when you find your people, it's really helpful, and it's helped me a lot as a person. So just to clarify that.
Oh, thanks for clarifying, Jess. And yeah, role models
got
don't
it.
have to be older. Someone younger can be a role model for you. Age is really irrelevant in that world. So I'm gonna read from the chat. Erica wrote, Lillian, what you shared resonates. I think there is a special relationship between disability and imagination. Oops, sorry, it skipped up. Imagination, between needing it to escape, imagine better alternate worlds, and having more time to do it while bedridden, or just otherwise trapped in our bodies and minds. Yes, thanks, Erica. That is so true. I Are there hands? I'm sorry, y'all. If I miss you, don't take offense. I do see Ashley raising her hand, so say Ashley, go.
Sorry. I also wanted to respond to what Lilium said. I have ME, which is myalgic encephalitis, which is very similar to long COVID. And when I was diagnosed with that, that's kind of what spurred on my art series, which is called Catharsis, which is like my entire response to my experience with being chronically ill. And with what you were talking about how art is kind of like your buoy in like this sea of like what you're experiencing, like that's what got me through like 3 years of the worst of my illness, was just like processing my experience with illness and making work about it. It was my way of like filtering it through, because there's so much misinformation about like long COVID or ME that you're going to be faced with so much not just misinformation, but just misunderstanding, and it's a lot to deal with. That was like my way of coping. So it ended up being like a humongous series that like now I have like my entire studio is like plastered with these huge pieces that I ended up making, but it ended up being like really a buoy in a massive sea of a lot of trauma. But it helps a lot, and I do encourage you to make work about it. It does help.
Yeah, Lilium, I encourage you to do that as well. Francis, do you have anything to say? Do you want to talk? I don't know. It's up to you.
Sure. I'll also describe myself. I'm a white non-binary person in a office with a bookshelf behind me, and I'm wearing a blue dress with short brown hair. Yeah, I think a lot about how in college sometimes I felt like making work about illness wasn't perceived as serious work because of kind of what you were saying, Priya. It was seen kind of as this therapeutic thing. But I think a lot in my own art practice, I'm considering how personal experience relates to larger systemic problems. And there are very common experiences that I'm sure many of us have probably had some aspect of dealing with, as far as the medical system or accessibility issues in society. And I think when we discount art as just like when other people discount art as just an emotional thing, it kind of leaves behind this whole other discussion that we're able to have because we're experiencing these emotions as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Francis.
I just wanted to share just something piggyback, just a quick experience. I've had the same doctor for a really long time. He knows what I do for a living, and he was bringing in, I guess, a new assistant. And so he says, "Oh, this is OG Danley. She's a professional wheelchair dancer." And this new doctor looked at me and he goes, "Well, how does that work?" And I'm thinking, well, I dance and people give me money, and that's how that works. And that the idea for a doctor, he couldn't even conceive the idea that there could be physically integrated dance. That was just shows that the new generation still needs a lot of education in the medical field.
Yeah, and doctors, you know how they are.
Yeah.
Okay, so lots of hands are being raised. So Chanika, Tylea, Jessica, and then Jess. So Chanika, go.
So I just wanted to thank Priya again for bringing us together and the exhibit she put on, and the presenting the dance performance and supporting others. And I just think it's so important that we all uplift each other and that we find spaces wherever they are to share our work. And I think it wasn't for me personally until the pandemic that I realized that there are other ways to present arts, like publishing it in zines. And so kudos also for the zine as well. And then of course these online conversations, and it always feels like such a privilege when I can meet others in these community spaces, and I think it's so important. I would love to continue to connect with all of you, and I'd love to try to figure out other ways we can present our work.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And Shanika, like you're just an idea popped out. I was like, oh, we should just keep doing cripping art meetings and just, do collective zines and stuff like that. I think that would be wonderful. Okay, I think, is it Tylea, Jessica, then Jess? Is that what's so Tylea, please.
Hi again, everyone. I have to say I can relate to that, OG, because what you said about the doctor, because when I visit my psychiatrist and I had my physical with my doctor, in the beginning, they were shocked that I was an author with cerebral palsy. They're like, we've never met someone with the brain as you. Where could we buy your books? Next thing you know, I'm getting a ton of royalties from my psychiatrist in their office. And they're all reading my books in between the lines, and they're like, but you don't really feel this way, do you? I'm like, no, it's just the character.
Thanks, Tylea. Will, I see you raised your hand, so you go after Jess Martin. Jessica, go for it.
I think I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm having an installation at Mass General up in Boston that will be there forever. And it talks about ableism. And I get to do all these conversations with doctors so that they stop being shocked that we actually have big, bold lives. And I get to like really work with them. And I keep thinking about how to hold them harmless, but to hold the medical industry, to the wall on ableism, and how we do both of those. Recently I've started using a scooter, and my doctor is really saying people who do not use chairs move more. And I was like, oh, you don't know any dancers, and you don't know like all these people. There's just like, at some point I stopped arguing with her, but I'm like, just because I'm in a chair does not mean I'm not healthy and I'm not moving, right? So both ends of that scale. And also I would love to keep meeting as us. And I also run something called the Open Circle Hive that gets together once a month on Zoom, and we're a group of artists who talk about art stuff, being disabled. So I'll put that in the chat.
Well, thanks. And a lot of people have shared their websites and emails and stuff on the chat. And Lilium, I believe, wrote something. Lilium says she's having issues with her account, but she shows her work on her Instagram, which is Lilium. I think it says Writes, Lilium Writes. So if anyone wants to follow her, I'm just going to copy that handle so people can.
And if anyone would like to follow the dance journey of the films that we're going to be presenting at the Pride Show, you can go on Facebook and just look up our page, Dances with Wheels. And we've got an event page up, and we're posting promos and videos and photographs of the upcoming shows.
Yeah, and they're really amazing. They're really amazing. I look at the photographs, I'm like, oh my God, it's so amazing. And Lilium has also shared her email, and Katrina and Tylea and Shanika have all shared their Instagrams and emails. You know what? This thing saves the chat, so I might just send it to everyone. So
there you go.
All can be in touch with each other. Okay, Will, I am so sorry it took me so long to get to you. Please go ahead and talk.
1 second. Yeah.
And can I go after Will?
Did someone say something?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, just
I'm sorry, Jess. What did hold on,
I
Will?
go after Will?
Oh yeah, go up. I'm sorry. No, Jess, you go first. Then it's Will. Sorry
Are
about
you
that.
sure, Will? Are you sure
Yeah,
that's okay?
yeah, no problem. Just go ahead.
Okay. So, I was gonna give you my stuff too, but I honestly just wanted to say that um I am so frustrated with those comments about the doctors. Um, Years ago, when I told somebody that I was a dancer in the medical field, they clapped at me. I was like, okay, that's fine if you clap if you go to the show, but why clapping now? I'm not 5 years old. So it's like, but I thought that we got past that in the arts community, and that just motivates me to continue what I'm doing because I don't like that, and it makes me feel like um people that don't understand about physically integrated dance will be like, oh, is it therapy? I'm like, no, it's not art therapy. I have the greatest friend though that is my dance partner, and she happens to be uh um a uh dance therapist, but she doesn't see it that way when we do it. So I just wish that people would stop, and it's getting better, but that irks me that you're still having issue with doctors. And I'm sorry for that because they need some more education apparently. And
Yes,
I thought,
they need different education than medical school. Let's just say that.
yeah,
I agree with you on that
and I
100.
thought the earlier, because they're becoming younger doctors, I thought that they would correct the older ones, but you're saying opposite. So
Well,
yeah,
I noticed I was injured about 25 years ago, and I have noticed a shift in the doctors from back then to like some of the younger doctors. They're a lot, they are a little, not all of them, but some of them are a little more less ableist, I guess I would say. Okay, Will, please go. I'm sorry it took me so long to get to you.
1 second. Yeah, no problem. I think one of the things that I have seen too, just going after like what Jess Martin said, like I was involved as a disabled community member for a training with the University of Arizona back in February, which like they do a training on disability for all their medical school and allied health careers, which was like interesting. And one of the takeaways that a lot of the students in that thought of was how more people like with disabilities need a patient advocate like with them, or like a case manager with them, and like in those medical appointments to help understand all those needs, because doctors do not have a lot of time with patients in general. If you're with a primary care provider, they don't have a whole lot of time, number one, to see the whole entire picture, and they don't realize that it's more than just our disability, that we have other associated healthcare problems which they need to realize. Number one, they have to stop that in that implicit bias. And like I really appreciate kind of just being here because with this community, it's people that really understand that ableism exists in other spaces, and you can't belong to be in this space unless you really understand what ableism is. And when I go to spaces in society, other places, they don't get it. They don't acknowledge, I think, that it exists. And that's what you have to kind of realize, and empower yourself from there to make sure that you can be yourself and not being told to but what someone else thinks. Like, I've been in a lot of different workspaces where people will tell me that you have social cue issues, and the problem. And you have to start with where your strengths are, that this is a barrier, and you have to work from there, not deduct someone based off of that.
Yeah, I'll Katrina and then Tylea, I know you're next, but I just wanted to say something that Jess was talking about where, when you have someone that says you can do something instead of you can't because they see you're disabled and they do something a certain way, and then like, well, you can't do that. And that's it's just like you can do it, you can just do it differently, and that's something we all have to we as the world society needs to start understanding. Okay, Katrina, please go.
All right, I'm going to introduce myself again to all the people that may be watching on YouTube. My name's Katrina. I'm African American. I'm wearing my hair pushed back. It's curly, and I have a pink headband, and I'm wearing a backless dress, and I'm a person with a learning disability. And basically, I want to say that for me, advocating for not just myself, but for many other people who have different types of disabilities and conditions, how important it is for everyone to talk about it, to bring it awareness. And also another way of doing that is expressing it through art. And I'm a self-published author, and I also write poetry. And sometimes when I write poetry, you can see the kind of disability that I do have inside of my poetry, and how important it is that when you're reading, you're feeling the emotions of the author who's writing the story or whatever they're writing. And I just really wanted to express that because I don't think it has been brought up, and that is very important for people who want to know about everybody in the disability community, how important it is to be able to not only know about us, but also know about what we can do rather than what you see on the outside. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you so much, Katrina, and I completely agree with you about that. Tylea, please go. And then I know Marguerite. Who else has raised their hand? Marguerite. I'm sorry, can someone guide me on this? Okay, Tylea, go first, and then I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out after you go. Oh, Tylea, I think you're muted.
I'm sorry. I was going to say that I agree with Jess 100% when it comes to the ableism of doctors, teachers. Even I had one college professor, after she was done grading my assignment, she says, "Miss Flores, I'm going to need to speak to you via Skype because of your disability. I don't think you're capable enough to be a writer. But I applaud you for your effort, and I wish you the best of luck."
Oh my. Sorry, I spoke out of turn, but oh my gosh.
And I looked at her and I said, "Ma'am, have you Googled that I published a book when I was 16 years old?" She said, "No, ma'am." I said, "Well, let me show you." And then once I showed her Jane's Ticking Time Bomb, because that was the only book I had at the time, and I was 20 at the time, she looks at me, she goes, "I apologize, Miss Flores. You've done a wonderful job on your assignment."
And yeah, and that is a learning and teaching moment. So, I mean, and we have to kind of embrace those. And that's my opinion. That's my personal opinion on that. I do have I have some other things I would like to bring up, but please go ahead, Marguerite. And did someone else, did you raise your hand, Jess?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you mind if Marguerite goes and then you go?
That's fine.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Marguerite.
Thank you, everyone. I would like to comment on what everyone has said because we are all in the same boat. What I mean by that is that we are all um, individual person and and I know that some people in society in society want us to be quiet, but there is a place and time, and we all have to pick our own battles. Like win or lose, but don't forget about people in law enforcement because because here in the last I could say 3 or 4 years we've been hearing horror stories between law enforcement and people with disabilities. Here, here in the city of Detroit, Michigan, wardens are weird, and the one of our local police department is putting on a curriculum for a local department in Michigan to educate each police department on how to deal with people with all disabilities and how to arrest people with disabilities, how to react to different types of people with disabilities, including invisible disabilities and 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 here in the city of Detroit, we have had problems with our public transportation. That is another story behind the diversification. But looking all participate in our city government, our allies will be behind us, no matter if it's right or wrong. They will have up back. I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marguerite.
Thank you, Marguerite. And I just want to say you look good for 67, girl. I need to know your secret.
Our secret is, I like to say we're not pigmentally challenged, but that's a whole nother discussion. So anyway, Adina, welcome. You just came in late. I think you're friends with Jessica because I saw y'all smiling at each other. So thanks to come, joining the conversation. Now, Jess, did you want to say something? I know you were patiently waiting, and
Very briefly, I will say something. I just wanted to say my information to put in the chat because I can't physically do it. So
okay.
my handles are Explore Through Dance.
Can I write it for you? Can I type it for you?
Yes, that would be great. And if you
Okay.
can,
If you,
Explore Through
I'm
Dance.
sorry, you're just going to have to explore through dance. Is that what it is?
Yes, and there are 2 different pages, but you want to look for the one that has more members. Once I get more members, I'm going to make a smaller group. But this is just so I can get started. And then the people that are interested in having conversations will be in the smaller group. The bigger group is for more for my promotional things for my classes, but then I'll have a smaller group. So that's why there's 2 of them when you look it up.
Okay, so if someone Googled Explore Through Dance, they'd be able to find you.
Yes. But
okay,
the key is you want to look for the bigger number. That's what I always tell people.
You want to find the one that has more people on it.
Yeah, and you also I would also like to say that you can, it's on Facebook and it is on Instagram, but I don't know much about that yet. So it's hard for me to do 2 platforms at once, but I do plan on doing things there. So if you want to, you can like me there, and then eventually I'll switch over to that.
You'll get around to it when you can.
That wants to do one thing at a time. So.
Oh no, I understand. And by the way, OG and I were talking the other day, and OG has a wealth of knowledge about social media, and I told her we should do a workshop about social media for all of us, that are trying to get our stuff out there.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Jess, I sent you a friend request on Facebook. I hope that's okay. And yeah, we need a workshop because I need to know how to work Instagram and Thread and Twitter and
I don't know anything about
Facebook.
I don't use.
Well, I would be happy to share that wealth of knowledge that came from trial and error. But it's how I grew from my platform and how I figured out how to monetize it and how to support each other, and all the little tricks and trades of the algorithms. So that would be a great thing for a future.
Besides the tricks and trades, it's also about it would have to be a group of people kind of liking and sharing to kind of get out.
Yeah, maybe we could do work time together, every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock or at 3 o'clock, whatever works for us.
We'll all post together and like it.
Yeah, so that, because it's not that I don't know what I'm doing. It's that I don't make I get timid or something. And I'd love dedicated work time to plan out my
All
social
right,
media and
OG.
do it.
So we got our work. We got to plan a workshop.
Okay, I'm all about it.
We'll just do this disability. By the way, I'm so excited because OG, I'm going to actually see her. We've just been online friends forever. So I'm going to actually see her in person because she's coming to Asheville to show her videos of her dancing and do a Q&A about bodies and where they are and how we work together. So I'm so excited about that.
Awesome. It's awesome. I just wanted to say, as you could tell, I'm dealing with a cough. So sorry if I'm muted most of the time or if I turn my camera off because I just don't want you guys to hear me coughing. So
Oh, that's
I'm
fine.
here and enjoying everything. So
Jess, I like to say, come as you are, and we love you no matter what the heck's going on. So don't worry.
awesome.
No worries. No worries.
I'm just going through the chat here to see if I've missed anything. Did anyone raise their hand and I missed it? I'm sorry if I did. Marguerite, did you raise your hand or are you just...
She put something in the chat about going to her Facebook page.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me find. Oh, yeah. Margaret says, go to my Facebook page, which is Marguerite Jello Maddox. And Lillian wrote, oh, wait. It popped up.
My first
Yeah, your Facebook is Marguerite Jello Maddox, right? Okay, yeah, cool. All right. Lilium says, I feel like there's an expectation for things to be, in quotes, good quality, to be valuable. But what I've learned from the disabled community is that the ways disability affects our art is part of the beauty and value. And that is exactly true. And, you know, I actually have a really good friend. I was trying to get him on here, but he has a stack of different mental disabilities, but is one of the most amazing artists and musicians I've ever met in my life. And we talk about it. He's like, yeah, he's like, making art, making music is the only way I can keep my mind stable. And he's like, you know, and then this art music comes out of it. And so, and then we kind of talked, well, I think that's true of a lot of artists throughout history. You know, we've seen these great artists, but like my think is like we've never talked about like, and you know, they didn't know back then, perhaps, like this person had bipolar, this person had this, or whatever was going on with them. But you know, you look at some artwork and it's so out there visually, and for even our time, like you're thinking like something, you know, this person was seeing something that the rest of us didn't. And you know, I do feel like a lot of disability is left out of art history, like of how, you know, these artists created their work. It's more like, oh, they were an expressionist and they were a minimalist and like stuff like that, or abstract or whatever. So Liliams wrote something else. She said, so have been really trying to ignore my perfection and embrace the messiness. And yeah, and I mean, I'm just going to tell you my experience, Liliam, as I was not disabled and I was a mess then. When I became disabled, and I'm still a mess. So art, you know, there's just some people that can draw and paint things exactly the way it looks, but and that's cool to have that skill, but that doesn't make them a better artist than someone that isn't perfection and messy. It's just about it's about expression, and expression, there are no rules to expression. Expression is expression, and there is no good or perfection to that. So please make art and share it with the world, because I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Erica Reyes says, Priya, will there be a way to join the online art show you're doing in Asheville? Yes, I am doing an online component. There will be one. I will send out to my emailing list. I will send that link out. I was just waiting to this event before I started sending that link. So yeah, there will be it, and I'm going to try to replicate the live event as well as possible. There's going to be Q&A, so I'll just have the videos actually just shown on the live event, and I'm going to do a Q&A. OG's going to do a Q&A. So I'm going to try to have those live. So if anyone from Zoom has a question, we can include them. And then I did a slideshow of all the art, including Chanika's video is in the art. It's cool because there's no sound till Chanika's video, which I was gonna add some music, and then I was like, no, this is cool. It should be silence, and then Chanika's video ends it all, and I think it's really, I like it.
I have a question. Did you get the poem that I sent you for it?
Yes, and the other thing I did for the Disability Pride Art Show, because I could not display the writers like I did last year, because the space just was not appropriate for it in that way. So I made a zine. Oh, I can show it to you. I haven't unpacked it out of the plastic yet because I want them to stay all together. But I made this disabled writers in the plastic.
Oh, it's blurry.
And so this is the disabled writers zine I made, and this features 12 disabled writers, including Tylee and Katrina, who are on this meeting right now, and Francis and me. They write a lot about their, their process and stuff, which I really love, with their photographs. So I featured a piece of Francis's writing in the writer's zine. So yeah, that zine is there. So the writers will be represented at the Disability Pride Art Show, just not in a print on a wall. So, which writers shouldn't be put on a wall. It should be in a zine or a book. So,
could I get a picture of the page that I'm on just to promote it?
Yes, I will send that to you. And once the Disability Pride Art Show is over, and I'm going to send the writers the zines, and so you'll have your own copy. But I will send you a copy of your page too.
So cool, because I want to promote it on Facebook so that people can buy your zine and check it out.
And yeah, one of the things I wanted to do was a zine publication through like a DIY zine publication. So I want to do more writer zines, and then I thought it would be cool to do art, like we were talking about,
art book, yeah,
art, like an art zine of the disabled community, include photographs and the dance moves, the moves of dance, and all that kind of stuff. So I would love to do that and love to work with all of you, because I think you're all fantastic. Okay, back to the meeting. So yeah, Erica, so there will be an online meeting for that. Will we have all the info as well as Priya? I'm not sure what you mean by that, OG. Are you asking?
She was asking about the online content, and I was just letting her know that I would also be sharing that information through the event page. That she'd asked me for a direct link to the event page. I think she was having trouble finding it, so I just told her that I would have it there as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, OG. I appreciate that.
No
problem. Okay. Adina wrote, I haven't listened to this yet, but it looks really good. Seems to relate to what Priya is talking about. Oh, and it's an Instagram. It's an Instagram that you shared, Adina, I'm guessing.
It's actually a link to a podcast.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing that. I'd love to see that. Okay, Erica's like, oh, disabled writers zine. Yay, I'm excited, and I'm excited about that too. And also I was like, let's do a post. Yeah, I would love to do a post about it in the Divergent Design Studios too. I think we could go far with this, like as artists, like how we work. Like today I saw Ashley post like her studio, and I was all really interested in watching that video because I want to see how she's set up and how she does her work, because I know, her abilities through her chronic illness isn't, it's hard to do. And so I was very interested, and I think that would be interesting for everyone. Okay, yeah. So everyone's excited about the zine. OG is on IG and TikTok, so look her up. Her name is OG_Danelli. Yes, you can submit something to the next writer's zine, Adina. I would be happy to have you on that. Katrina's like, I did move since my last address you have. I'll send you my new address after the event. Okay, cool. Thanks, Katrina. Shanika, you've raised your hand. Please go.
Sorry, I really would like to stay, but I'm fading fast. I'm on my last spoon, so really tired. So I just wanted to thank everyone, and I look forward to having another space time to get together. Have a wonderful opening and performance.
And cool. Thank you so much for coming, Shanika. I love you, and I can't wait till the next time I actually get to see you. And I love your art, and I love your video, and it was great. So thanks so much for being a part of it. And I would love to have you. Because I'm thinking we should do art things outside of Disability Pride Month. So we'll just create zines and do one bi-monthly or something. I don't know. It depends how crazy my life is, because my life always seems to be crazy.
In my exhibit, because I'm having an exhibit opening in September and having a resource area, so I'm putting zines there too. So I want to
awesome
you soon so I can distribute it.
What city?
Oh, and I'll mail you some of the things I have too. So
yeah.
What city?
Princeton, New Jersey. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for coming, Shanika. Rest. Okay. I just want to read the chat because I don't want to miss anyone. Oh, Erica, thank you so much for joining. I loved your comments, and I really appreciate you being a part of it. And anyone that wants, I forgot who said they wanted to be in the writer's zine now, but whoever wants to, just email me, and I'm sharing. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to do it to everyone. Okay. I'm sharing Jess Martin's information, and then I'm going to share my email, and
yeah, I would.
If you want to be part of a zine or work on these projects, I'm happy to host it. I'm happy to host Zoom and to plan all these things. So please write me. I'm also on Instagram as DIY Abled and on Facebook. So you can, if it's easier for you to write through those, please write me through that. That's fine. Okay. And Marguerite, you've raised your hand. Please go.
Yes. Look at my silver stars on my phone.
I'm sorry, what did you say about your phone? I didn't hear.
Look at my silver partner.
She's got her service dog on her phone.
Oh, yeah.
And of course the dog walks out of frame.
Yes, I know. Right when you said it, I know. Well, your service dog is awesome. And I always think, because Ashley really does I'm going to send your painting to Marguerite, because I know she's going to love it, because she is a service dog advocate as well. So, I don't know. I think our meeting's gone on pretty long here. So I want to try to end it here, but I really wanted to talk about the idea of 57 inches as the eye level in galleries, because I don't like that. So anyway, so maybe we'll just have another conversation another time about that. And yeah, so thank you all so much for joining, and I really appreciate it. I think this was a fantastic conversation, and we'll do it again. And that's all I have to say, unless anyone else has anything to say. Please do.
Priya,
Okay, Tylea, go first, then Marguerite, then Jess.
I just want to say before I head off to get a bite of pizza and continue celebrating my dad's birthday, thank you so much for being so awesome, everyone. Thank you for being insightful and uplifting. And once again, thank you, Priya, for being a badass.
Thank you for being a fellow badass. So thank you. Everybody here is a badass. Okay. Oh, Jess, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, and Priya, thank you for connecting us.
Oh yeah, no problem. I love connecting people and I'm so glad. I'm really glad. And I love it because this group is all women. So just like I just kind of noticed. I was like, one guy. Oh yeah, was there one man here?
Will.
Oh yeah, Will. I'm sorry, Will. Will's not here anymore, so if he watches on YouTube, sorry, Will. But mostly women and Will. So thanks everyone, and we will, I'm into doing these meetings, so let's do it and make a little art collective, a DIY abled art collective of us, and put our stuff out there. And have a nice night and evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
Bye bye.